Book 22 of the Molly Murphy series. Lord. Hey, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. So anyways, don't you hate it? Would you have hated it? Think about the way you live today. Think about the way you live your life today. You can drive a car if you're a girl. You can go to school if you're a girl. You can get an education. You can be a respected doctor, scientist, lawyer. You can be anything you want. You can go to school. You can attend events and concerts and stuff like that. I just stopped my thing. You can go to concerts. You can go to lectures. You can go places. You can do stuff, right? You can do all this stuff. And you have the right to vote and all that kind of stuff. And drink and go to a bar. You can do anything you want. But we are talking about 1909 here. And the women's suffrage thing was ongoing. And they were trying to get women the right to vote. It took a while. And it was a very, very slow process. And this is book 22 in the Molly Murphy series. And we have Molly, and in the earlier videos I would give the big spiel about how Molly came over and stuff like that. But it's a little long in the tooth now. So Molly used to have her detective agency, and she let it go because of the kids and her husband, Daniel, who was worked for the New York City Police Department, but now he's working as a special agent for the FBI. So he got a little bit of promotion. And she's friends with Sid and Gus, the wealthy ladies across the street. They're actually Elena and Augustus, but they like to go by Sid and Gus. And she has Bertie and Aileen and her son. And they have their cousin Prudence staying with them, and Ann Johnson also staying with them. And this woman is supposed to be coming to stay with them, Miss Parker. They're going to have a big, huge parade. And apparently it did happen. Just a little quick note in here. The Hudson Fulton celebration was a real event that unfolded exactly as we have described it, minus the murder. The winged victory float was our invention, but most of the other details of the parade were drawn from newspaper accounts, including the naval parade. There's also a big naval parade with this thing. So, a friend of theirs, Sid and Gus, are expecting their friend to come stay with them. She's written a letter, I'm going to come stay with you. And they're like, okay, come stay with us. We're so excited. And she never shows up. And Sid and Gus fear the worst. So they hire Molly to find out what happened to this woman. And Molly investigates, and she eventually finds this woman. And apparently, it was a scientist, and apparently, she was the ghost scientist that hid behind her husband. Her husband was the front of it, but she actually did all the work behind the wall here. And he needed her and relied on her for her expertise in the matter of, they were studying viruses and studying polio and stuff like that. So he kind of needed her. So anyway, she up and left him. He was in Philadelphia. She upped and left and came to New York. And she was supposed to stay with Sid and Gus and never did. And then the husband arrives and he's like banging on their door. Where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my wife? And they're like, she's not here. And he hasn't heard from her and hasn't seen her. And this whole 9 yards. And he's also hired a Pinkerton agent who was not that nice or interesting or welcoming or anything. He's kind of a rude, awful guy. And sometimes you think he might be the killer, but he's not. Little spoiler alert there. I will warn you, there are spoilers. I will spoil. So, Molly is also concerned about the fact that special agent husband hasn't got paid yet. And she can't have a bank account in her own name or anything like that. That must be horrible. Absolutely horrible to can't have your own money. You have to be happy being a homemaker and having children. Apparently, this is, I know it was in the Regency times too. You had to be happy being a homemaker and caring for the children and let the man go out and support you and all the whole situation there. So, this woman has come to New York and she has disappeared, and people are fearing the worst, that she has died or got murdered or mugged or something. And then apparently it's later revealed that she also came with her child, which is also not usual for her. So apparently Molly does eventually find her and finds her alive. And the woman has a plan. She's got this new place that she wants to get a job at, and she wants to approach the gentleman first before telling her husband about it, because she's trying to coax her husband to leave Pennsylvania and come to New York and work at the place in New York so she can continue her work in viruses and Napoleon and the whole 9 yards. But she wanted to get with the scientist first before she told her husband. So she gives Molly letters, and Molly takes the letter to the husband and then the other one to Sid and Gus. And supposedly she was going to tell him about her plans and about getting hired and about the job and her plans. She supposedly was going to tell him all of this. Later on, it's revealed, whether you believe it or not, she did not reveal all that stuff in her letter. She must have said, we don't know exactly what she said, but she must have said something to like, I'm fine, I'll see you Saturday, and I will explain things then. She was supposed to have told him about the job, and she was supposed to have told him about this, and supposed to have told him about that, but we really don't learn what the details in the actual letter are. And she also comes from a very, very wealthy family, and her very, very wealthy family was paying for childcare in Philadelphia so she could work with the husband in the scientist thing. But the family did not approve of her doing the scientist thing, so they withdraw their money for the nanny. They weren't going to pay for it anymore if they wanted her to stay home and raise the child and be the mother and the homemaker that she was supposed to be. They did not approve of her lifestyle. So that was another reason why she was coming to New York. And she comes to New York and she stays with this other family who was going to help her connect with the scientists and stuff like that. And Molly spends a lot of time with her family. We get to know the ins and outs and all the stuff she's doing and providing for her family and stuff, and learning about, New York and stuff, and the beginning of cars and stuff like that, and the automobiles and transportation. But she's also trying to assert herself that because her husband, special agent, hasn't gotten his check yet from the government, that she needs the money, So that's why she let Sid and Gus give her the money. At one point, I thought, and I was wrong, that they had given her $40. But apparently they had given her $50. Because one part of the book I thought said 40, but I could be wrong. And in another part of the book it said 50. But she uses that money to buy food and stuff and supplies for her family. And because her daughter's going to be one of the participants in the thing, the girl needed some. Another lady was going to buy the dress, but she needed to buy the shoes and the stockings for the thing. And another group was supposed to be in the parade, but the teacher didn't approve. She wanted the girls to look like they were working in the outside world. And the float organizers wanted the women to be on the float, pretending to sew and clean house and cook over a fake stove and do womanly activities. So the birdie got to do that float. But then the following Saturday, there was going to be a second parade in New York, and the ladies were going to present themselves as Greek goddesses. And then when they got to the bandstand, they were going to bring out the suffragist signs. And they ended up getting arrested for those suffrage signs. But at the same time as their parade, the young lady gets killed. So we have to investigate who killed her and why. And the police are assuming that the killer meant to kill the dignitaries that were behind their float. And it takes Molly and her enthusiastic investigation and Molly's reasoning to go to the cops and say, or to Daniel, who will then take her to see this Corelli guy and go, look, these are the facts. And he's like, oh, really? Oh. And also, they have started fingerprinting during this juncture. So that's an interesting thing, and they had to do it with the little eyepiece, the little eyepiece. They don't do it with machines right then. They were doing it with the little eyepiece. So it's good to see Molly out and about again. It's good to see her detectiving again. It was so nice of Sid and Gus to make her the business cards. And they put their telephone number on it so that they could be her secretaries or her Watson if she was going to be Sherlock Holmes and they were going to be her Watson. And I'm not sure what the purpose of Cousin Prudence was, because Cousin Prudence was a very unhappy lady the whole time she stayed with Sid and Gus, whereas Annie was a much more pleasanter person to deal with. But the whodunit is revealed at the end by Molly. She makes the whole plans, and the police go along with her, and they hide behind those Chinese, those fake Chinese walls, the walls with the patterns on them and stuff that people usually use for dressing in bedroom and stuff like that you see in the movies. And the why was not because you're thinking the husband did it. You're thinking he did it because he didn't want his wife to do this New York job, but he didn't know about it then. And he was okay with her not staying home because, like I said, he needed her to do the research because he was like, this is me, this is all me. And really, the story was, it was his wife. But he was like, see what I did? And his wife is going to be standing behind him going, I did it. You didn't do it. I did it. So he needed the wife. So that kind of says, well, maybe he didn't kill her then. Maybe somebody else killed her. But her family's reaction, her rich family, their reaction is just weird. It was just weird to the whole thing. They're like, well, yes, the poor girl. We wanted her to stay home because she was supposed to care for the child. She was supposed to be the homemaker and care for her husband's needs. She wasn't supposed to be working out in the field in the scientist office. No, she was supposed to be taking the child, and she was supposed to be doing this. And it was just, I just wanted to punch her father. It's just like, pish, pish. But anyways, my co-host has left, and that is book 22. And I'm still trying to decide if I'll go back to the Gilbert book or not. We'll have to see. I started a new thing, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. The ARC group. You gotta check out my ARC extravaganza. Don't forget unboxing on Sunday. Don't forget JD Rob on Saturday. If you want the review, D. Louise book series in depth. And one, you'll see the book will come up twice. One will be the review, and then one will be characterization spoils. And Star Trek Next Generation recaps Fridays, or Next Generation recaps Fridays. I need to go back and do a few of those Generation ones. I don't know if I'll ever get to it. I keep talking about it and I never get to it. Sunday's unboxing. Flashback Monday, of course. My daily book reviews. So, who killed Willa? Well, you'll have to read the book to find out. But if you could please hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And see how Molly deals with her husband and how he turns out to be supportive instead of dissing. I mean, that's one good thing about Daniel. He supports her. He may wish her to be the stay-at-home mom, blah, 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 but he supports her. So, we'll see what happens there. You have a good one.